Hi everyone, welcome back to Harp and Guitar, People and Music, and another edition of Whiskey's Blues Gumbo. And today an interesting little bit of terminology, actually a couple of them that sort of go hand in hand. And those are the terms or phrases cold in hand or having your hat in your hand. Now, I've heard both of these terms from the same blues artist, and I've heard this same blues artist use them over and over in different songs. And that artist is the late, great Mr. Bukka White, Booker Washington White, B.B. King's cousin, as a matter of fact. And Bukka White was famous for singing what he referred to as sky songs. And he called them sky songs because very often he would just make them up as he went along. And people would say to him, well, where do you come up with all these rhyming lines and all this subject matter? And he says, well, they're just out there, and I just pull them out of the sky and sing them. They just come to him. And Bukka White is a very underappreciated and unsung hero of the blues, especially if you look at his repertoire from the 40s right up into the 60s. He did a huge amount of recording, and he played in a couple of different styles depending on sort of his mood and the type of music that he was going to be playing, the song that he was going to be playing. He often would play with the guitar on his lap and using a bottleneck or a slide and pluck the strings. And he also played more traditional style as well, finger picking, and again with a bottleneck style or a slide. And he very often used these two terms, cold in hand or hat in your hand. Now, there's similar sort of meanings to these phrases. Cold in hand basically means that you're broke. You pull your hand out of your pocket and you open your hand and you're cold in hand. Meaning there's nothing there to keep your hand warm, that you don't have any money, you have nothing in your pocket. You're cold in hand. And the other term, having your hat in your hand, right, is basically the same thing. You have no money, you're standing there. He uses the term standing by the tracks with your hat in your hand. Standing by the railroad tracks with your hat in your hand, begging or singing, begging for change or playing and singing for pocket change. So you're standing there with your hat in your hand because you're broke, you have no money. Or you are cold in hand, empty pockets, no cash, no moolah, if you will. So that's the meaning of the terms cold in hand and hat in your hand, was that you were broke, you had no money. And this is subject matter that's often covered not only by Bukka White, by many bluesmen, especially throughout the 30s, 40s, and getting into the 50s, because many of them were broke. Even though they performed and they were very talented musicians, blues singers and songwriters and performers, many of them were migrant workers who just played on Friday nights and Saturday nights for a little extra cash at juke joints. So they were basically living hand to mouth. And if they didn't make a lot of money, they didn't have any money in their hand, they were cold in hand. So maybe they'd have to go to town, stand on a street corner and perform with their hat in their hand to get a little spare change. So there you have it, and I want to thank everybody once again for joining us here today at Harp and Guitar, People and Music, for another edition of Whiskey's Blues Gumbo. If you haven't already, please consider liking, sharing the video, and let us know what you think down in the comments section below. We'll talk to everyone again real soon. Have yourselves a great day, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.